Hi, thanks for checking out our repair channel. What this is going to be is hopefully how to test a repair video on this unit. This is the old style Gallagher B600. The note says it's dead, so that could be anything. So we're going to go through it and see if we can get it figured out. 12 volt unit. This could run off up to 36 volts, so it's 12 to 36 volts. Most people ran it on 12 volt. So these were standalone 12 volt model Gallagher, made from the early 90s, late 80s, all the way to the early 2000s, like 2000, probably 7 or 8. And then they came out with the B700 here in the States, and that kept around until about 2017. And then now they've got an MBS 800, an 8 joule unit that's plug-in or battery, where these were strictly 12 volt. So we'll go ahead and we're going to open it up, and then we can power it on and hook it up and all that stuff and see what it actually does. So if you got one of these things, be happy to take a look at it for you. Here's all our information. It's down in the description area, so if you have a little drop down arrow deal, and you can find out more about us. There's links down there you can click on, but there's our information right there. So you want to pause it and take a peek. There you go. Okay, well, before I plug it in, I already see a problem there. See that capacitor's cracked? There's a bulge in the side of the capacitor right there. So that's bad. So we need I won't even turn it on yet until I replace that. So that might be all that's wrong with it, just a capacitor. So that doesn't happen too often where you get a bulge in the side of it, at least on this style of capacitor. Other ones you'll see that happen, but not this style. This is pretty rare. So probably age of stress got all that. That's a 30 microfarad 1200 volt capacitor. So we're gonna get a new one here, and a new capacitor, and hook it up. I think this capacitor might fit. Yeah, there it goes. Then I have to even modify. Then I put this other strap in there. Okay, so these terminals look pretty crusty. So let's clean them real quick. I don't have this. Oh my! Let's look. No, it's smaller. Oh, this is bigger around. So I'll tell them, so you need to replace these at some point in time. They're getting pretty gnarly. Okay, I'm gonna get my power supply turned on here. We're gonna set it at 13 volts. The switch down here on the bottom is actually 2 switches, an on-off switch and a medium-high low switch. I'm going to put it in the middle for medium or high, and have it off for now. And I'm hook my power supply wires up to it. I can't get it to reach across there, so we're just going to have to do that. All right. And I'm going to flip the switch on. This green light should come on. It should hum and then start clicking. Nothing. Okay, let's test the input volts and see if you get 13 volts coming. There could be those connections are bad. All right, looks like there's 4 terminals down here. Like this first one is our the positive, and this third one over is our negative. So we're going to go across here to here, see if we get 13 volts. Nothing. But let's flip the switch, see if it does. And it's still nothing. Okay, let's pull this board out real quick. Make it easier to show where the wiring goes. Pop that three-way switch plug out. All right, the way this works on the wiring, if you're curious, There's your positive, negative, black and red wire come in. Black comes straight over, hooks on right there. Then your red wire goes onto the switch, which is your on-off switch. As soon as you flip it down, which is on, it goes down to here, goes over to the one side of the fuse, comes out the fuse, and goes over to this terminal here. So that's how that wiring works. Let's check the fuse. This takes a, it's like a 2 amp fuse, looks okay. Let's test continuity just to make sure. All right, fuse is good, so why aren't we getting power? Well, probably because those connections are crap on the front there. So let's cut them off. He's just gonna have to get new ones. I don't have the right size here. That cord's pretty ate up anyways. All right, before we strip this back and try to put a new, or go right to the bare wire, it's been chewed up by something, like mouse or something. So we'll, I'm gonna test continuity between this red wire and right here. Oh, that's good. Looks all chewed up, but it says it's good. But what we'll do is we'll probably cut it back here. I'll attach a length of wire there to it, some red wire. That way it gets rid of all that stuff. And then let's we'll do the same thing on the black one. That one's chewed up as well. All right, let's test continuity on that black wire just to make sure it's still good now. All right, black wire is good. So we should be able to get power all the way through this thing now. That's what the pulled up was. Make sure it's off. This tabs down here are bent. Now, these B600 are like old school Gallagher. They're really good. Should be pretty close. Okay. All right. Hook our power supply up to the little wires here. All right, I thought the light came on for a second, but maybe it didn't. I don't know. I couldn't see it quick enough, I guess. But let's just check. It's on. Let's check power here. Okay. Let's check that fuse. Fuse blew. All right, let me go find another fuse and we'll try this again. All right, make sure this fuse is good. It's a new one. All right, it's good. Turn my power supply off for just a second so no power is running through it. And I'm gonna put this back in there and I'm gonna check this fuse or the switch, make sure it's on a short switch by chance. So check it when it's on, it should beep. So I'm going to go across 2 terminals there. Flip it off, it should beep. Or it should not beep, right? All right. And then let's make sure there's no short between positive and negative wire. So I'm going to go across red to black. It should not beep. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to do this off out here. I can kind of maybe show you a little bit what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, I might be able to do it. Take my wires off my power supply, and I'm going to touch there to there. So positive is going to go here. I'm basically going to bypass this switch. I'm going to go right and pull the fuse out just in case. I don't want to, actually I'm turning this, I'm going to leave the switch off. I'm going to put power right to this. And I'm going to put, now I'm going to bypass the switch and the fuse, go right to the board. My power supply does have a short circuit protection on there, so if there is a short in the board, my power supply will show it. Okay, there's a short in the board somewhere because it overloaded my power supply, so there's a short. So something's wrong with this board. There is some kind of funky hot smell. Ooh, damn. That SCR is hot. There's a heat sink on this SCR. And it is hot. Let's check some diodes on here to see if any diodes are bad. So that's what we're going to do next. Don't know if we can fix this board or not. I don't have all the pieces of this board for the board in stock. Okay. Well, all the pieces that I have in stock are good. So there could be a short in this transformer here. This is what I think this transformer right here builds the power up. You know, like a multiplier circuit builds the power up, and it gets it through the board and gets over to this capacitor eventually. And that's what the capacitor takes and discharges through the board to the big transformer over here. So I don't know what to do with this board right now. Well, see what we got in stock. Well, I've got one B600 board left in stock. And they don't make this board anymore. So this board is probably one of the only ones left in the whole world. Because they discontinued the boards for these things about a year or so ago. And they don't make them anymore. So I think this board is probably original. Where the hell did I put it at? I don't know where it's at. Set it somewhere. So that's a new board. Bit updated looking. You'll have some bigger diodes in some different spots and things. So you can't buy those transformers. Actually, it says it's an inverter. That's what it says on there. Gallagher doesn't sell those inverters anymore. Used to, but they don't anymore. Happened for about a decade. So we're going to install this board. The other option you can do is you can convert this to a B1600 16 joule unit, They make the boards for those, but there's a few other things you have to change. You have to add, you have to put 2 different capacitors in here. It takes 2 big capacitors versus 1 small one. And I believe the transformers might be different. I have to look at the parts book if I go that route. So we're going to ask the guy, he said, do you want to keep it a B600 for this amount of money, or do you want to turn it into a B1600? And B1600, that's a 16 storage joule unit, so it packs a hell of a punch. But I don't know if he's got this on a solar setup or not. If he does, he's not to go to a bigger solar panel, because the solar panel for these 600s were a lot smaller wattage wise than what the 1600 used. So now it should not blow the fuse anymore. Sure it's off. Hook up the power supply wires to it. Flip it on. And what should happen is this green light should come on, should start squealing, and then it should click and flash this light. There it goes. So now we'll, oops. Alright, test the output. Let's see what we're getting. Peak voltage is 8.5. That's on the high setting on the switch. We'll flip the switch up to medium. And it should go down by about 1,000 volts. Oh, hold on. Won't do that unless you have this wire plugged in here to this switch here, or below the switch here. And you also want to make sure this black switch is set on the H on the inside. There's a L, M, and H is all the way that way, which it is. That way it allows you to go through all 3 settings. If you're only on medium, you only go between low and medium. If you're on low, you can only go between low. It's like a bypass switch. So you want it on high. I think it's on high. Yeah, it's on high. So we'll put it back to medium again. Flip the switch on. 7.3, so it went down by about 1,200 volts. And then put the low. It should be about 1,000 volts less than that. 5.8, so about 1,200-1,300 volts. So it's working fine now. 8.6. These are very old school units, very reliable. Nice healthy shock to it. So this one's basically done. If the customer wants to go and turn this into a B1600, I'll have to give him a quote on the board, a new board, and then 2 big capacitors, because these it takes 2 40 microfarad capacitors versus 130. So there's a bit more. I think the output boards are the same, or they will work the same. And we'll look up the transformer. I think the transformer will be the same as well. I'll have to look that up and see for certain. But this, fairly quick video for the most part. I mean, took a little bit of troubleshooting to figure out why the fuse would blow. And I have to tell him about those wires over here on his leads. I'm extending them out a little long since I cut off some of it. And then he's going to have to put new ring connectors on there or something. But hopefully you like this stuff, like these videos. Subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, tell your friends about us. Happy to help you out. But this is on a Gallagher B600. Repairing a old style B600. So I've got the guy going again. See if he wants to keep it as this, or wants to update it, upgrade it, whatever, to the 16 joule unit. Be a lot more power. Costs a bit more money to do, but well, not a whole lot more compared to what we did to this one. A little bit more. But well, that's it for this video. Until next time, see you later.